Hi everyone, welcome to G's Music Theory. I'm Gina, saylor. You can find out more about me at ginasaylor.com. This is lesson number 2. If you haven't seen lesson number 1, go ahead and go find it if you want to catch up. If you are coming back for lesson number 2, welcome back. Today's lesson is on intervals of 1, 2, and 3. So we start with unison, or the interval of P1. P stands for perfect. Perfect unison is a term used to describe a note in relation to itself. It's the same in major and minor, therefore it is perfect. So intervals are classified as major or minor or perfect. You'll learn what these mean later on if you don't know what they mean already. And perfect just means it's the same in major and minor. It doesn't change because it's already perfect, so no need for it to change. So listen to the opening of Mendelssohn's Wedding March. This is an example of the perfect one interval, or unison, because it's the same exact note played repeatedly. So it's just a note in relation to itself. Technically, perfect one is the smallest interval. I'm correcting myself in the last lesson when I said it was the half step. It's actually perfect unison, but actually refers to 2 or more notes that are the same instead of the distance between different notes, so it's really just a technicality. We learned what the half step was the last lesson, and a half step is called a minor second. Now you see that the M in front of the 2 is a lowercase. In music, we use the lowercase m to denote minor and the capital M to denote major. That's easy to remember which is which, because major is big and minor is small. A minor second is the interval of a half step, which you learned in the last lesson. What does it sound like? Think of the famous theme from the movie Jaws. That's a minor second interval from the first note to the second note. That's what a half step sounds like. What does a minor second look like on a keyboard? Well, you already know this. Next door neighbors that are always black to white or white to black, unless there's no black note in between 2 white notes, in which case the minor second would be white to white, next door neighbors, right? Let's start testing your knowledge here. What note is a minor second up from D? Remember, if you need time to come up with the answer, just pause and then come back to us because I move quickly. Half step up from D, which is a minor second, is E flat. Why do we call it E flat and not D sharp? Because we're using the number 2 here, minor second. The number 2 means we want to use the second letter in the series of letters. So 1 would be D. So if you asked what's a perfect 1 from D, a perfect unison from D, it would be D to D. But if you want to know what a minor second is up from D, then you want to use the next letter, the E. So you're going to say D to E flat instead of D to D sharp, which would be awkward. What note is a minor second up from B? There's no black note in between, so a minor second up from B is just plain old C. Major second, you know this already also. It's basically the interval of a whole step. What's a whole step? It's 2 half steps. What's a whole pizza? It's 2 half pizzas. What does a major second sound like? Think of the opening of the Happy Birthday song. That's a major second from the first to the second note. The interval between those 2 notes is called a major second. What does it look like on a keyboard? You already know this also. You just move a half step twice. So what's a major second up from G? It's going to be A. There's my 2 arrows showing you 2 half steps up from G. What note is a major second up from E? 2 half steps, so it takes you to F sharp. And again, you want to use F sharp, not G flat, because G flat would be going E, F, G. That's 3 steps, and we only want to go 2 steps in the alphabet, right? So next we deal with a minor third. This is a new interval for us. Then the lowercase m tells you it's minor, and then 3. A minor third is the interval of a whole step plus a half step. What does a minor third sound like? Think of the opening of Brahms' Lullaby. Brahms is the name of a composer, and you might say, oh, I don't know what the Brahms Lullaby is, but you actually do. Listen to the minor third interval. And if you still don't recognize the opening of that lullaby, you can just Google Brahms, Brahms, and lullaby, and you'll hear it, and you'll know it for sure. What does a minor third look like on the keyboard? Well, you just have to move a half step 3 times, or a whole step plus a half step. It's just 3 halves makes 1.5. So what note is a minor third up from A? You want to go up 3 half steps, and you will end up on C. What note is a minor third down? This time we're changing the direction. What note is a minor third down from B flat? So first you have to find B flat on your keyboard, and then go down 3 half steps. And you should end up on G. And this is our final interval of the day, major third. A major third, capital M, on the symbol, is the interval of a whole step plus a whole step. This is super easy, right? You're not learning anything new. You're just learning to add on another half at a time. What does a major third sound like? Think of the first 2 notes in the Kumbaya song. And if you don't know that song, if you're too young to know that song, then you can Google that too. That's Kumbaya. What does a major third look like on the keyboard? Well, all you have to do is move 2 whole steps, or 4 half steps for you math geniuses out there. What note is a major third down from F? Remember, 2 whole steps, and we're going down this time. So start on F, move to your left, 2 whole steps. And you should end up on D flat. So you do not call it C sharp, you call it D flat because you went F, that's number 1, and then you went to E, that's number 2, and then you go to D, that's number 3. When you're going backwards in the alphabet, F, E, D, and we're looking for a third, major third, so we're going to use the name D flat. What note is a major third up from B? The answer is D sharp. 2 whole steps up from B is D sharp. And again, not E flat, D sharp in this case. I know it's the same sound, but we have to know when the appropriate name should be used. Okay, it's quiz time. So answer these 5 questions, pause this video, and when you've got them all figured out, come back and get the answers. Okay, unison is not major or minor, but it's called perfect. What's a minor second down from A? That would be a half step, so it's G sharp. What's a major second up from B? That's a whole step, that's C sharp. What's a minor third up from G? That's a whole step plus a half step, that's B flat. And what's a major third down from B flat? That's 2 whole steps, and that's going to be G flat. This is an interesting quiz that I came up with. It's a listening quiz. It might be a little harder for some than others. It's like being able to write with your left hand or not being able to write with your left hand. Some are better than others, and you're just born that way. So don't beat yourself up if you don't get it, but give it a try. I'm going to play intervals and tell me which interval it is based on the little clues I gave you earlier. Okay, so write down numbers 1 through 5. So here's number 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. And the last one, here's number 5. And here are the answers. Did you get them right? That's the end of lesson number 2. So join me for the next lesson, which I don't know when it'll be, but you guys have inspired me to come out with this one pretty quickly. So we'll see how my week goes. Thanks. Bye.